Hi everybody, this is Mrs. Wilson. Today is January 12th. Today our Learn It is I can identify the issues that led to the creation of the United States Constitution, including the weaknesses of the Articles of Confederation and Shays Rebellion. The weaknesses of the articles we looked at last Thursday and identified some of those weaknesses just as kind of a review as being only one branch of government, which was the legislative branch, which means there was no leader for the country, no executive branch, which would be today's president, no judicial branch, which is our court system, the Supreme Court system, and all of the courts that fall underneath the Supreme Court. Also, the inability for the government to raise taxes or collect taxes. And finally, no military to defend itself in the event that something like an uprising or a rebellion, such as Shays Rebellion, occurs. So our essential question is, what key problems did the government face that became evident with Shays Rebellion? So let's take a look. First of all, we're going to watch a brief video about Shays Rebellion, actually told by another history teacher. I found this on YouTube and I thought it was a pretty good summary of those events. So we'll watch that and then we'll go through the notes.
Story time with Mr. Beat.
What is up? My name is Mr. Beat. Today, I'm going to tell you the story of Shays Rebellion. Once upon a time, the United States was born. Right from the beginning, the brand new country had serious money problems. Congress had the power to make coins, but lacked gold or silver to actually mint them. So there was a money shortage. The money shortage was very hard on farmers. In the 1780s, judges in the state of Massachusetts ordered people to jail if they could not pay back their debts. They could also order the local government to seize or take over all of the farmers' property, up to their entire farm. Because most farmers in Massachusetts were in debt at the time, and most couldn't pay their debt back, many were losing their farms and going to jail. Well, one farmer, Daniel Shays, said, "That's stupid. We don't have to put up with that garbage." And he decided to do something about it, along with many other Massachusetts farmers. Shays, a hero of the Revolutionary War, and many other farmers throughout Massachusetts, marched across the state and closed down courthouses to keep judges from taking their farms. Then they marched on the National Arsenal in Springfield and seized the weapons stored there. Meanwhile, Congress was like, "What the heck?
How can we stop this madness?"
You see, after the Revolutionary War, the Continental Army was disbanded. With no national or federal army to come to the rescue, Massachusetts was on its own, and it struggled to stop Shays and his followers. However, finally, after almost a year after the rebellion started, the Massachusetts government was able to end Shays' Rebellion by sending militia troops to Springfield to restore order. Shays' Rebellion rocked the young country. To many Americans, the uprising was a disturbing sign that their country they fought so hard to create was already falling apart. Shays' Rebellion is widely believed in helping strengthen the federal government and the new Constitution that we currently have today, and also proving our first Constitution, the Articles of Confederation, did not give our federal government enough power. The end.
All right, a very good summation about Shays Rebellion, and something to understand about why taxes were collected is that during this time, our government, just like the government following the French and Indian War, our brand new government was facing a tremendous amount of debt and no ability to collect taxes to pay off that debt. And Massachusetts, at least no ability on the national level on which to collect that debt. Sure, they could pass taxes all they wanted to, but they had no way to actually collect it. And if you remember that during the events leading up to the American Revolution, the British military was stationed in colonies, especially Boston, Massachusetts, to help protect tax collectors, British tax collectors, for collecting debt. Well, we had no such system under the Articles of Confederation to collect taxes to help repay the debt following the American Revolution. And a good deal of the battles that occurred during the American Revolution occurred in the state of Massachusetts. So they are really hurting pretty severely and in tremendous debt. And as a result, they pass taxes that are pretty outrageous, not at all unlike what happened to the colonists under King George and the Parliament. So now the shoe is sort of on the other foot, whereby we have leaders in Massachusetts that are imposing very high taxes on farmers in Massachusetts, not unlike what happened to those very same citizens of Massachusetts under King George. So there's a lot of irony here that's going on with regard to, we've got a lot of debt, we have no way to pay it off, and if people can't pay it off, we're going to throw them in debtor's prison. And so that's what happens in Massachusetts. And it's really not surprising that, like Bostonians, under the leadership of Sam Adams and the Sons of Liberty and John Hancock, that it's not at all surprising that Massachusetts farmers would fight back, just as they had against the British Crown. So filling out your fill-in-the-blank notes as I simply read through this summation of Daniel Shays' Rebellion. To repeat, because of inflation, because of high debt and printing money like it's going out of style, the Continental soldiers did not receive the pay that they earned fighting in the war. So not only did they risk their lives to fight in the American Revolution and risk losing their property, they now are not paid for that because there simply isn't any money to pay those soldiers. Daniel Shays was one of those soldiers. He was a captain, I believe, in the American Revolution, a highly respected officer, and now he finds himself on the losing end of tax collection. He was a farmer before the Revolution and returned to that after the Revolution. He was a farmer who could not afford to buy tools and seeds for planting. Well, if he can't afford to buy the tools and the seeds to plant a crop, how in the world is he going to earn any money to pay back any taxes? So problems for farmers. Like many former soldiers, he borrowed money and went into debt. This is something we will see repeated throughout U.S. history. And even to today, to 2021, when people have a debt to pay off, they borrow money to pay that debt, but then they become even further in debt. And it's a vicious cycle. Some states, like Massachusetts, made debtors pay back what they owed right away. So there wasn't a lot of grace time for, there was no like paying a little here, a little bit each month or anything like that. It was, they wanted the entire sum immediately. And that's, nobody had the ability to pay back whatever debt they owed immediately after the war. It was simply impossible. And so therefore, if they could not pay, the state could take their land, could seize their land, and send them to prison. Imagine that, American Revolution heroes, if you will, those that fought and perhaps were injured or became disabled as a result of that war, are now prisoners of the state of Massachusetts, or rather the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, for not paying their debt. Truly, ironic turn of events following our independence from a tyrannical monarch. So as a result, many farmers will protest these laws. Shays Rebellion in 1786, Daniel Shays, a former captain, is going to do just like he did in the Continental Army, and he's going to lead other farmers to protest these taxes. And as you saw in the video, he is going to, along with 1,200 other poor farmers, are going to show their anger by going from courthouse to courthouse to courthouse throughout Massachusetts and shutting those courthouses down so they cannot complete the process of seizing their land and throwing these poor farmers in jail. In January 1787, they attacked a building used for storing weapons in Massachusetts, not unlike the kind of building that would have existed in Lexington when the British Army marched on Lexington to gather the weapons that were stored there. So that's really what we're talking about, an armory that holds the weapons, that holds the cannon, that holds the ammunition and so forth for the citizens. They wanted to show in this effort of taking over this building that stored weapons in Massachusetts, they wanted to show that the government was way, way, way too weak to do anything. Sure, nobody wants to have a super strong government like that they lived under with King George III in the British Parliament, but they went so far in the opposite to the opposite extreme of having a weak government that could do nothing whatsoever. Their individual states could burn down, so to speak, and they were powerless to defend them. Mainly because there was no executive branch, there's no president, and the president is the one that is the chief, is the head chief of the military. And so this was really a really tragic situation they found themselves in. The governor of Massachusetts sent the state militia to end the conflict, resulting in the death of 4 protesters. So now you have some protesters that die. There's a super good chance that they were veterans of the American Revolution, veterans that put their life and their livelihood on the line, veterans that did not receive any pay for fighting, and now they find themselves dead, not at the hands of British troops, but rather at the hands of the state militia. So again, a really tragic situation that underscores the fact that this government under the Articles, understandably so, was created to be weak, to avoid that overreaching long arm of the law of the British Parliament, and that they witnessed under the British Parliament and King George. But they made it so weak that it was ineffective and left citizens once again at the mercy of tyrannical politicians. So, following your note, filling in your note sections on your page, you will use those same notes to go through and answer the 5 mastery check questions that follow this presentation. So you will have one chance to answer them correctly. There are no do-overs, so use your notes. It's all right there in front of you, and we'll see you tomorrow.